is called to order. Let our records show that we do have a quorum present. We'll do the national flag first, pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. We have 5 board members present, so we have a quorum.
Go ahead. Give me some more room.
In our consent agenda, we have 5 items. Our previous minutes from Thursday, June 4th. Abstinence education program, approval of professional development appraisal system. That's the PDOS appraisal system that's required by the state. Budget amendments from the last school year and proposed budget for 2015-2016. And I believe we are going to have to pull out the proposed budget for 15-16 away from the consent agenda and vote on that as a separate item. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. That has to be a separate agenda item. So what we'll do is include A, B, C, D in the consent agenda, pull out E, and we'll call on E as a separate action item. And we did receive these documents ahead of time, and I don't know if board members had an opportunity to go through and review each document, but you may have a discussion on it. But at this time, I want to call. Do I hear a call for a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I make a motion.
Do we have a second? We have a call by Dr. Flynn. We have a second by Mr. Aldridge. Floor is open for debate or discussion by any board member.
Yeah, I just had a question on these.
Okay.
Yes, we actually have the presenter here to present the 2 curriculums that we're looking at that the board will discuss. So does that need to be a separate item too, or can we just have them talk? She's here to talk about the 2 different curriculums.
Oh, they need to come out separately then.
So we need to.
And the purpose of the consent agenda is to review the documents ahead of time and vote one time for every item on the consent agenda. So in the future, can we pull them out individually?
Yes, that's fine. Or unless do you want to just bundle the ones that we're going to vote on together and then pull the other ones out? Is that what you're saying?
Let's pull out B,
Okay.
C, D, and E.
Okay.
The purpose of the consent agenda is to vote one time for every item that shows up consistently on the agenda.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So we pull out B, C, D, and
So let's start with
separate items. We'll do A.
Go ahead.
So A is a consent agenda because the minutes happen every time. So do I have a call for a motion to accept A, the previous minutes?
Sure. I move that we accept this.
Call for a second.
I'll second.
Debate or discussion by a board member? Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Odell, a second by Mr. Humphrey to accept the minutes from Thursday, June 4, 2015. As many as in favor of the motion say for. As many as against say against. Motion carried. B, separate item. We need to be sure to include in our minutes that B is pulled out as a separate item. Abstinence education program. Superintendent?
At this time, we have Mrs. Chapman here who has joined us, as well as our district nurse. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the district nurse to introduce Ms. Chapman, and we will hear from Mrs. Chapman regarding 2 curriculums, Making a Difference, and Draw the Line, Respect the Line.
Over the course of last year, our Student Health Advisory Council for Innovation Academy met a total of 5 times, including a summer session in fall. We had 2 focal group topics last year. One being nutrition, promoting healthy nutrition and physical activity to our students. And the second being reviewing and discussing health education curriculum, which at this time our school does not have in place. We had invited in May Ms. Mauricia Chapman to our SHAC meeting, and she came and presented a total of 5 curriculums. Of that, the council discussed and chose 2 of those to be ones that we felt best met the need of our community at school. She's going to present today Making a Difference, which is a 1-year program. It targets a particular age group and will be taught that year, every year. The second is Draw the Line, Respect the Line, which is a 3-year program, and it targets 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and it builds on itself. Our council consists of, for last year, we had 18, 9 of which were parents, and we felt it important that they voice their opinion because it is their students that will be receiving this education. So I want to introduce Ms. Mauricia Chapman. She is, as she introduced herself, from Austin, Texas Department of State Health Services.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me here today. Again, my name is Mauricia Chapman. I'm with the Texas Department of State Health Services. I am out of the Austin Central Region office, and I am responsible for the abstinence education curriculum throughout the state of Texas. So as Ms. Green stated, I did attend a school health advisory committee meeting, and of the 5 curriculums that we offer, you all narrowed it down as a district to 2, which is Making a Difference and Draw the Line, Respect the Line. Both of those curriculums are evidence-based interventions. And so what I'm going to do is just pass a few of these out. And these are going to highlight the core components of each curriculum, as well as the program methods, and it's going to give you a little bit of the behavioral outcomes, as well as the study, in the event that you would like to research the study and see the target population and things of that nature.
And the board, these are included in the board documents already, and the board had a chance to review those. They received them earlier.
Okay, great.
So
I'm also going to pass the curriculum that you all can take a second to look at. So Making a Difference will be on this side, and Draw the Line will be on this side. So just to go over Making a Difference, first, the target population is 11 through 14-year-olds. It is an 8-session curriculum. Each lesson is about 8 minutes, okay? And as your superintendent stated, you all had a chance to look at the core components, so I will not go over that. The thing to know about Making a Difference, it is a 1-year program. So if you implement it in the 6th grade, that will be the same program you implement in the 7th and 8th grade as well. The difference with Draw the Line, Respect the Line, the curriculum builds on each other, on itself. So 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. It will start with a basic puberty level, and by the time you reach the 8th grade, we're discussing STDs and STIs. The important thing to notice about Draw the Line is that there is a mini condom lecture. In the state of Texas, we do not allow that condom demonstration. It will be pulled out and it will be replaced with a story about condom use, okay? Draw the Line also comes in English and Spanish. It is the only curriculum that we have that is offered in English and in Spanish. And as you look through the levels, you will see there's English on one side, Spanish on the other. So it allows for the parent-student communication. Okay, that's going to be the difference between Draw the Line and Making a Difference.
On the Making the Difference, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
On the Making the Difference program, you said it's the same each. So if we started in 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, they would all be getting the exact same curriculum at those 3 years.
Yes.
Okay.
So some school districts implement it at their 6th grade level. If you decided to repeat it in the 7th grade, you're getting the exact same activities, the exact same curriculum, the exact same lessons.
Okay. All right.
On Draw the Line, Respect the Line, what's the difference between the condom lesson and the condom film?
The The condom lesson was a demonstration, so there would have actually been a banana of some sort, or something that mimicked a penis as well as a condom, and it would have been demonstrated. That lesson is pulled out, and there's just a story about how to properly put on a condom, instead of actually giving them the visual.
How's that addressed in this one? The other one?
I'm sorry?
How's that addressed in the other curriculum?
It's not in the other.
It's not in the other? Okay.
If the stress is abstinence, why is there even a lesson on condom?
Well, the curriculum developers, the state of Texas promotes abstinence. The curriculum developers is ETR, so they use it across the entire country. So other states do allow that particular lesson. In the state of Texas, we have our own edition in which we pull out that demonstration and replace it with a story.
Can we take out the story too?
Why would you want to?
Because of the stress and abstinence.
States that practice abstinence have higher levels of pregnancy and STDs.
That is at the discretion of the school district. As long as you maintain the fidelity of the curriculum itself, you can pull out that particular lesson. It will not change the data for the onset of initiation of sexual activity.
Okay.
Another benefit of draw the line, respect the line, as you see the curriculum as it goes around, there's a CD-ROM in the front. That CD-ROM has every activity, every lesson. This will help with the onset of the school district having to purchase books each year, because you could actually copy it from that CD, okay? With the other curriculums, you would be responsible for purchasing all of the workbooks after year one. The state of Texas, we take on the cost of training the school district as well as the first year books for the teachers and the students. But after that, the sustainability falls on the school district.
That's it. CD players aren't computers anymore.
I'm sorry.
Computers just don't have CD players anymore. How do you use it? Is there a website or something down there?
No, there isn't. And with making a difference, that DVD that's going around, what's on the DVD are young adults or adolescents actually talking about scenarios. And what you'll see in the DVD is that with each scenario that they find themselves in, it's always tied back to abstinence. So for example, you may have Molly and John who are talking about, I think I want to have sex for the first time, but I'm not really sure. And they kind of go through a dialogue amongst themselves, and then, well, I'm scared to catch chlamydia. Well, the message at the end of that is going to be the sure way, 100%, not to catch chlamydia or any other STI is through abstinence only. So each lesson is tied back to abstinence. So we do provide the education throughout the curriculum. Are there any questions?
So basically, one thing that I just want to make the board aware of is that before the school year starts, a school district shall provide written notice to a parent of each student enrolled in the district of the Board of Trustees' decision regarding whether the district will provide this type of curriculum. Also, the review of curriculum materials as approved have to be available to the parents. Also, the parents has the option to opt out. So in the event that we choose a curriculum and the material is then communicated to the parents which material that we have selected and has been approved, as well as the timing in which the material will be presented to the child, the parent has the option to remove the child from the curriculum. That's always an option. And that usually does take place. There is a group of parents that will choose, it's their choice to remove their child. In the event that that happens, then the campus will make arrangements for that child to be removed and provided additional, support, supervision, instruction, not in the area, in this area during that time.
I think it's like that when I was in elementary school. That's pretty stupid.
So does anybody have any questions? So clarify which curriculum has the lesson regarding the use of a condom.
Draw the line, respect the line has the kind of demonstration lesson.
Okay.
That will be removed. That is grade 8, lesson 6 will be removed.
But there is a video that you're telling us that that replaces that lesson?
No, there's a story.
A story,
Yes.
okay.
So
How
if you
to.
look in there, grade 8, lesson 6, there will be a kind of demonstration lesson. The Texas Edition curriculum will have an actual story.
Okay,
So the story will be about a young lady and a young man who think that they want to initiate sex, but they have problems with proper use of the condom. It teaches them proper use of the condom.
okay. And what grade is that taught in?
8th grade.
Okay, so in my understanding, the Draw the Line, Respect the Line is a 3-year program, so meaning our 6th graders will get exposure to the curriculum. The 7th graders would then get a different exposure to a curriculum, and the 8th graders would get exposure to a curriculum, all aligned.
The idea is that it would build.
Correct.
So in the 6th grade, it starts talking about basic puberty, what is going on with the body, what changes will you notice. In the 7th grade, it will start to address societal norms with sex. In the 8th grade, it will address HIV and STIs in a little more depth. So it's appropriate for each age level. The idea is that they matriculate through the curriculum, starting with the 6th grade.
And is the Draw the Line, Respect the Line the curriculum which requires the district to purchase it at one time? Or is there additional materials that are purchased each year?
No, Draw the Line, Respect the Line allows the district the freedom to not order the 2nd year
Okay.
because of the CD-ROMs that come with the curriculum.
Okay. So-
Making a difference, we will provide the first year workbooks for both the faculty and the number of students you plan to serve for that first year. However, in year 2, you will have to reorder the workbooks.
Okay.
But I would like to say a lot of school districts, you do have the freedom to do things that best suit your district. So in El Paso, they've actually gotten making a difference, and what they did is laminated the book. And then they just copied it each year so that they don't have to actually purchase it. The curriculum developers ideally would like that workbook to belong to the one student.
Yeah. So the least expensive one, based on what you're telling me, is Draw the Line, Respect the Line, in the event that you do choose to move forward with purchasing each child, which is recommended by the curriculum developer, a individual workshop book.
Long-term sustainability.
Awesome.
And these are just best practices that I'm offering.
Correct.
Of course, ETR would not recommend that. These are just best
Yeah.
practices
Sure.
so that school districts can maintain the curriculum and not just implement it, but actually see it.
And can I just clarify, making the difference, what grade is it actually taught in?
It targets 11 and 14-year-olds, 11 through 14-year-olds, so the school district has to decide where they would like to implement that.
So you can partner some of that stuff up with biology.
We talked about this is a discussion that the SHAC team discussed. They talked about during PE. And it's my understanding both curriculums, there would be somebody that would come out, that would meet with our identified teachers or the school nurse to support them to make sure there was an understanding of the material prior to teaching, or is that really our responsibility?
That's somewhat the school district's
Okay.
responsibility. What happens is I come out initially, I train whoever's going to be implementing it. So I train them through the entire curriculum. Within that first year, I serve as an observer. I come out, I see how they're implementing the curriculum, I answer any questions. We also have a support group across the districts throughout the state that offer best practices to school districts who are just implementing the curriculum.
Okay. And so when you say you train, so you would train the teachers that first year, or would just train the nurse and she would be a trainer of trainers?
No, I would train the actual educators
Okay.
who would be implementing the curriculum.
And based on the recommendation of the SHAC committee, my understanding was that they recommended that, or we talked about doing it during PE.
After Christmas, when they're inside, not during the spring, and have other activities outside, and they're basically inside during that time.
And I will tell you, the SHAC committee was split. Some of them wanted the program to be offered after school, and that there be an option that students could participate. And then others wanted it taught during the school day because they felt like the kids that really needed it would not be participating after school. So, that was one thing that was discussed. Understand this has been a topic that has been discussed at nearly every SHAC SHAC meeting throughout the year. So it was our focus this year to be able to present 2 curriculums to the board. So moving forward, we can comply to communicate to parents what curriculum that we will be utilizing to support.
And then also you have the option to, there are a lot of adaptations that are allowed within the curriculums as long as you're maintaining the fidelity of the content. So you can separate the boys from the girls, or you can keep them all together. That's at the school district's discretion. As well as you'll notice throughout the curriculum, there are a lot of names. Some of the names are more Hispanic, some names are just more traditional names. You have the adaptation to replace those names to make it more appropriate for your audience.
Can I ask a question?
Not at this time. Board members, you can.
So what are we, we're not approving 2 curriculums, so what are we doing?
Correct. We need to pick, these 2 curriculums have been recommended by the SHAC committee. And so the board will decide which curriculum they want to support that we want to communicate to the parents. So that's the selection of the curriculum.
Do y'all have any more questions for Ms. Chapman? Board members? I have a question thank you, Ms. Chapman.
I'm sorry, I do have a quick question. When separating the boys and girls or keeping them together, do y'all have any research on?
No, the study is actually in the back of the teak that I gave you. You can check out the study. However, no data indicates that separating the sexes makes any difference in the outcome.
Okay.
It's just more of a behavioral management control.
I understand.
Young men can get a bit.
Yeah.
And the actual schedule, I do want to note that the board's not approving when the program will be taught. It will depend on the campus and looking at the schedule on each campus and things like that. The SHAC committee has recommended that to be taught during the school day.
And if I could just make one other note, with Draw the Line, Respect the Line, the funding issues are changing. And with the end of our fiscal year for the state of Texas, which is September the 30th, if you do select Draw the Line, Respect the Line, we would need that contract signed by September the 30th.
We may have some more questions for you here in a minute, but I have a question for Mrs. Is there any way for us to satisfy the letter of the law or the mandate from the state without in-house, without buying a program outside? Do you have the personnel or the expertise to do this inside?
Without buying a curriculum, I don't believe there's a curriculum in place. We don't have that in our curriculum set up to teach health education.
Okay.
So that was where the discussion came, that is an area we are missing, that we don't have anything in place for that.
Okay.
So if I understand correctly, there's actually no cost right now. It's just the first year they give it to us. It's contingent cost of the year.
Yes.
Draw the line, respect the line.
With the state of Texas, what we do is we provide your training. So we pay for your first year training. We train the staff free of charge, as well as providing the first year workbooks for students and faculty. So we allow for the implementation of it at the cost of the state. It's the school district who would have to maintain it for the years to come.
Any other questions regarding the 2 curriculums before we?
I'm going to allow. She's gonna have them ask it. Jacqueline, from as the curriculum director, do you have a stand or?
The only comment I would make is that if you're recommending doing this during our PE classes, or if you choose the 3-year program, our education
Okay. Good point.
She has it.
So if the 8th graders don't have a PE class, then we would have to find a time to then.
But it's only what? 6 lessons a year.
Correct.
And so it's 6 1-hour lessons?
Correct, yeah.
The other thing Becky's bringing to attention, and I'm thinking you could maybe work this out. There's only a few lessons, but the PE classes are mixed gender, and there's only one teacher, so you would have to think about that too.
Yeah.
And we'd have
train a different personnel to bring them in if you wanted to separate.
if you wanted to
Right.
separate them. But then we could also look at it to, if we did choose the curriculum that, that looks at both 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, we could decide to maybe offer it during the science class or something like that, depending on, yeah.
A former science teacher, middle school teacher, had to do this, separating them was a big thing. Just because you didn't want to ask a question in terms of, yeah, so.
You're free to ask your question now.
My question was basically just asking if you choose the one that progresses from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, just the fact that we already have 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th graders now, would it be appropriate to go ahead and start your 8th graders on the 8th grade curriculum when they didn't get the 6th and 7th? And then how do you meet that mandate on your 9th graders who have not received that curriculum to this point?
Good
So
question.
no, because of the fidelity of the program, it must build on itself.
So
If
you
you
don't
just
want-
start in the 8th grade, they're missing 2 years of the program.
Good point. So we would just only serve our 6th graders this year. And then next year we would have served 6th and 7th, and the following year we would implement in all 3 grades.
So legally, does that put us in the situation of our 7th, 8th, and 9th not ever having?
That's
Well, that's a
case
good
of any new
question.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you did a one-year program, technically you could start at a grade and do it with that grade at every grade up. And then from then on, only do it with that one grade. So you can do it with every, with a 1 year program. Correct. And everyone would have it.
Ms. Peterson, as
But it's
curriculum
the
director, which
exact same
you
class.
choose? Which do you prefer?
But you don't ever.
You're the one that has to be, you're the director, so you have to direct it.
So the concern I have about
Whatever you think.
the 1 year is that we photocopy the books and they really got to see about it. I think we should break copyright law. The other program provides is allows you to print off their CD, then that's not, we're not violating the law.
I also like the 3-year one because the
That's
way
still
it builds on
copyright.
itself and it's age appropriate for each.
Let's draw the line, respect the line.
And of course, it's important to note, this is more than sexual health. They're teaching them self-efficacy, the importance of drawing the line, knowing your boundaries, knowing how to say no, and that it's okay to say no. So it's actually a development program. All of the curriculums, however, of course, we tie in a sexual health component and we want them to remain abstinent. But it's not strictly sex. You will not be teaching sex for 3 years.
So the motion we'll need, if the board members are ready, the motion we'll need is a motion to accept either one or the other as our abstinence education program mandated by the state. That's our motion.
I'll throw it out there. I say do the cheap one. And it seems to cover more of the stuff anyway, so.
Okay, so we have a motion by Dr. Odell. Do we have a second?
To accept,
To accept.
draw the line.
Draw the line.
The free one, it's actually free. I don't remember what it was.
Draw the line, respect the line.
Draw the line, respect the line. We have a second by Mr. Humphrey.
So we have a second?
Yeah, Mr. Humphrey. Many in favor of the motion, say for, or against, say against.
The price was right.
Motion carries.
All right. So
Next item is approval of professional development appraisal system, PDOS appraisers. These are the appraisers, right? Not the appraisal calendar.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
praise
These
God.
are the actual, and it's noted here. Each year, the board has to approve the PDOS appraisers on each campus and in the district. The PDOS appraisers are the individuals that go into the classroom and actually appraise the teacher throughout the year, doing walkthroughs and actual evaluations. These individuals all have to go through a particular training, and each of the individuals listed here have been trained and have been approved by the state to be PDOS appraisers. You can notice each campus director is an approved PDOS appraiser, along with our district curriculum director, myself, and Mr. Weaver. In the event that a teacher appeals a decision of the director is the primary appraiser, then one of us would step in, Mrs. Peterson, Mr. Weaver, or myself, to actually do a second appraisal on that individual. So that's why we are primarily listed. So I'm asking for the board to approve the 2015-16 PDOS appraisers for the district.
Call for a motion to approve.
I'm sorry, can I ask a quick question?
Correct.
So the campus leaders do it, and they're,
Yes.
the other three names are there just in case.
Correct. In the event that the teacher is not satisfied with the director's appraisal,
I got you.
they can appeal.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
When
This is your list.
Well, it's still for debate.
Still for debate.
Yes.
Okay.
Some districts are piloting it again, but at this time it is not still piloting.
I'll make a motion to approve it. I mean,
Okay.
We have a motion by Dr. Odell. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Flynn. No debate or discussion. Those in favor of the motion say for.
For.
Against, say against. Motion carried. Next item, budget amendments for 2014-2015 school year. Superintendent.
We are accepting a small amount of federal funds in revenue for the first part of this amendment. And then on the second part of the amendment, function 35, which is the reserves, is going to go over its estimated budget. And so we need to move about $8,200 from the general administration fund function, to the food service to cover the cost of supplies and summer salary. And then I also reduced the extracurricular function by $10,000 and split it between curriculum development and instructional leadership, increasing each function by $5,000 to cover some expenses in those. Any questions?
Mark, just curious. So this, going forward, because this is our first report that's really important to us, does this get us in line with everything we need?
Yes. Basically, anytime that we go over in a particular code function, we have to make some kind of adjustment for it and for approval. So this basically cleans up. This is just moving money from one function to another. We did get a report from TEA on our actual audit, and it's clean. They're all good with that. So the only thing that we have left is just the actual first report, and that has pieces that the audit doesn't cover as far as teacher ratio and things like that. So I think we probably know the month or so away from getting that. Pretty confident with that. If I may, just briefly talk about the difference between just regular ISDs and charters when it comes to the funding. I think might help us. A regular ISD every 2 years turns in what they think the projected attendance is. And it's actually a snapshot every other year. And the state funds them on that over a 2 year period of time. If they miss their data, then at some point they have to settle back up with the state. And what they generally do is they'll reduce the funding over the next several years. In charter school, the funding is totally different. We turn in a number about this time of year, what we think our enrollment is going to be, and they will fund us our first check based on that. And then every 6 weeks after that, there's a settle up. Every time we turn in our fees or our attendance every 6 weeks. So we never get overfunded. You know, we never have. We never.
Unique way of saying that.
But what we see is the revenue changes every 6 weeks based on attendance, based on enrollment. So, and even state Texas realizes that charter schools have a much more difficult time trying to keep their funding and their expenses in line, because it literally changes every 6 weeks. And you can go back into anybody go into TEA to their website and see what checks we get, how much they are over the course of the period of years. So whenever we create a budget, we try to create it less than what the enrollment is. We try to get a reasonable attendance and all that kind of stuff, just to try to stay in line. But even if we adopt a budget at any point, at any year, just because we adopt it doesn't mean that's what's going to be. Okay. But on the other hand, and if ISD adopts a specific amount of revenue, that's what they're going to get for the year. You know, but ours changes month by month. So we need to kind of keep that in mind whenever we look at budgets and whenever we do it, because we're just having to adjust. Christian comes in and says, look, based on what's coming in every 6 weeks, we need to move money around just a little bit. It's not increasing anything, but it's moving existing money to another function or another code so that it covers expenses. So that's kind of brief.
So what enrollment and what attendance rates are we do we project?
For this current year coming up, we are basing our budget on 580 enrollment with a 96% attendance rate. Our enrollment right now is 599. Basically, if you break it down, for every student that comes into the school and stays the whole year, the state generally gives us around $8,200. So if you're looking at that 20 kid overage right now, that what we're enrollment versus what our budget is, there's another, close to $160,000 that we're not even putting into the budget because it can adjust. If we come back the second 6 weeks and it's 569, it will adjust to that. And we come back the next week, if it's 611 or 6 weeks, it's 611, it will adjust.
But it'll adjust up and up just as it.
Yeah,
Right, because it seems like for the last several years, we've kind of at the end of the year had to scramble adjusting down.
Right.
We haven't had the luxury of adjusting up.
Right. And if you go back and remember our conversation, I believe it was in December and January of this year, that we talked to the board and everybody agreed that we were going to make a conscious decision that we were going to make our students more accountable to the homework, the testing, the culture, the whole thing. And to do that, we realized that we were going to lose some students. And we did. And we made sure that our spending was adjusted to that. Even though we adopted this big, huge budget of $4 billion at the first of last year, we didn't spend anywhere close to that. We spent what is actually coming in. And it's going to be significantly lower than that for this last year, if that makes sense. It will be less than
But there's pretty good evidence now that most of the situations are resolved as far as the culture. And so parents have different expectations that are over fixed now.
We have to, we really, and we do, we look at our budget every week. We look at spending every week. It's not something that we can just say, oh, it's out of the budget, we spend right.
No, this is this year's budget, let's just move forward. That's for y'all. No, see, yeah, I think we've moved into the actual proposed budget for the 15-16 school year. So let's do the amendment and then let's move into the proposed budget.
Motion to accept the amendments.
I don't know what that says.
See, I'm sorry, hang on, because it decreased 10,000. I'm number 36 on this chart, and I apologize. No, other one, the one that you were on. I'm sorry. This one.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
We're dropping 10,000 out of extracurricular line item 36.
Right.
Is that for last year or is that for this coming year?
This is for last year.
Last year.
Okay. And then the next page is for the upcoming year. We're putting.
The next page shows what the actual approved budget is currently, and then the changes that we're talking about, the amendments, and it shows
For the upcoming year.
For this year.
For this year. Okay. When are we? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So when we get to 36 next year, okay, we put it back in.
Yes.
My bad.
No problem.
I'm sorry.
I'd like to just say too, the first year that we had the TEA audit, one of the things that was counted against us is that we didn't amend the budget to reflect what was actually happening. So it is vital that all of this number crunching happens so that we do come within a certain percentage or the acceptable percentage of the budget so the auditors can give us a clean note on that. So I admire them for watching this so closely.
And there will be one more budget time of adoption. Once everything's all said and done, if all the dust is settled, we'll tell you this is our revenue, this is our expenses for the current year, this is probably complete November.
And that's okay. Right, before the audit's completed, right.
So we want to move forward with accepting the amendments?
So are we with 13, are we closing out 13 or with the proposed budget? All the code.
This is only as of May 31st, so I haven't given y'all numbers for June, July, and August yet.
So 13 will be, okay.
Books have to close at university, so we can.
Yeah.
Close early.
Okay. We have a motion to accept the amendments from last year's budget.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Humphrey. Do we have a second?
I second it.
A second by Mr. Flynn. Any more discussion? Comments? Okay. Are those in favor of the motion, say for?
For.
Those against, say against. Motion carried. The next agenda item is our
Proposed budget.
for next
So that's page
15, 16.
And so some of that's already been discussed on the proposed budget. Couple questions that have been asked was, what did we create the budget off of? 580 students at a 96% attendance. So you can see the amount of revenue that we're receiving from both local and state and federal. And then you can see where we have at this point, to the best of our knowledge, began to brainstorm what do we need, the amount that it's going to cost in that area, and that's where we have allocated those funds. Does anybody have any questions regarding, and again, this is all based on a 580 student enrollment at 96%, looking at every little purchase that we need to make throughout programs such as Odyssey Wear, figuring those purchases, looking at purchases such as textbooks, curriculum material, computers. Everyone on the leadership met earlier this week to kind of go over the budget to make sure they understand how much they have in their area and what we feel like that the reason for the amount and where we want how we want the money spent, talking about what the needs of the campus aligned with our mission.
I think it's pretty clear that 80% of our budget is for payroll, which is pretty difficult.
You don't have the buses that take you at 15.
But this year we did budget in for UIL because now where you see extra curriculum, that's UIL. That's our cross country, our tennis, the cost of that, academic UIL as well. We did not have those costs last year.
Guidance and counseling went up quite a bit. Is that the new personnel?
Made a decision we have a full-time diet and a full-time speech pathologist on board now. It's so hard. By the time that we contracted them out for 3 campuses, it costs just as much just to hire one.
Correct. Because of our location of all 3 separate campuses.
Why do we cut the data processing so much? Because why is that cut?
That was some of the admins used to be under data processing because they mainly did PE reporting things, but then once we looked deeper into what types of items are included under data processing, those admins actually moved up to 23. So 3 people came out of there and went up to 23, where it was more appropriate because data processing really focuses more on actual technologically, the actual databases, the upkeep of data, not just the actual data entry at school level. So those school admins that do our clerk work, our clerk and registrar work actually belong up in the school campus level, not district level technology, basically.
You guys built this to make sure the percentages were good for admin and blah, blah, blah. So we don't go all extra coordination. Yeah.
I'm glad we don't have anything budgeted in security. That's a good thing.
We're doing the minimum
We
right
have
now.
to rely on, and get that at 3 right now.
Yeah, I think it's important to know that at this point that
And then
our
our
core
academic,
service, our maintenance, our
number
security,
sense and
everybody in the university.
poetry.
They may
Yeah,
change.
teachers can
Try to fly under the radar.
So that's $663,000 for maintenance and operations that goes to
High rent.
what?
I'm sorry,
It's
maintenance operations. So
663.
That is basically our rent. You know, we've talked about that being under university rules. It's much more difficult to do the things that we like to with buildings. We are in the process of negotiating with the university to try to make those things a little more palatable for all of us. And if that happens, we may be able to come back and do a commitment to reduce those amounts.
It's our second largest expense.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
We're not adding any buildings or anything.
Somehow, though, I mean.
Yeah, we are actually we're adding a building to the very back of the Tyler campus this year.
The engineering center.
But but it's not being purchased by us. They're utilizing some as well. They built it. We're borrowing.
We're in negotiations to get some property in Palestine for free that's adjacent to this school. Can't go into any details on that right now. We're in negotiations to purchase property in Tyler that's adjacent to the school. The university, not the school. Does that make sense? And so if we get that, that will increase our space a lot, and also place for playgrounds and stuff like that. And in Longview, they're good for another year or two. But we are going to get, so you don't break legs if you go outside and run the grass.
But we're really going to face, moving forward in Tyler and in Palestine, we're basically at capacity.
Yeah, and in Palestine, if we're unable to make the trade to get the swaps for the property, then we'll eventually put a building in that parking lot behind the school. And they are working on getting a road put in. It'll be a one-way road. So the traffic jam will go away.
And a patch of grass would be nice,
Working on
even
it.
if it has holes.
Working on
It's
it.
better than the parking
I don't
lot.
know, they're pretty
It's
good.
better than a parking lot with holes.
If we get the swap on the land, we're actually going to get a large piece of flat land that we can get the trees removed, will be really nice. And that's all in progress. So,
Great.
The right of way for the road has been acquired.
yeah, we've got the right of way for the road. That's done. Now I should put the road in. But we're bureaucracy and everything just very slowly, as you know.
You gotta understand that we've got 3 or 4 major building projects going on here at campus, and everything has to go through a bid process, and they're just way behind. That's the reason why
We are also going to submit a HUF request, assuming the College of Ed will play. We got our big building that we've been asking for 20 years, the new STEM building. And that was a joke.
I didn't hear you.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And so the president right now is open to going back for a request. It can't just be us alone, but we were co-located with like the College of Ed or something, we might be able to work out a deal. So, and you're talking 5 years, but still, that would be in time. A real building.
There's no further debate or discussion. We have a call for a motion to accept the 15-16 school year budget.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Flynn. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Aldridge. Those in favor of the motion say for.
For.
Those against say against. Motion carried. It's now time for our superintendent's report.
The first item on the report is our district enrollment, and that is the next page after the budget. I just wanted to update the board on currently where we stand regarding enrollment. I first want to thank Jama and her team, as well as the directors on the campus. We held a annual enrollment on each campus. Where we were able to invite parents up and basically confirm enrollment based on what Mark was sharing with us early. Enrollment is so important, and for us to monitor that so closely and get as close to confirmation as we can to create a budget to hire from is really important. As you know, at the end of the year, we send out acceptance letters to new students. We also send out commitment letters to returning students. And so we get a pretty solid number at that point, but it really helps us to bring the parents in and to kind of get, as we get closer to the beginning of the school year, a more confirmed number. And so the individuals on the campuses have spent the last couple of weeks since the enrollment day reaching out to parents and confirming if they're coming, having them come up to the school and actually finalize paperwork. So I feel very confident moving forward to share with the board our numbers, because we have actually talked to every one of these parents that are noted here. So as you can see on the Tyler campus, you can see a cross, shows you the grade level, and then you can see the total confirmed enrollment. So for Tyler, it's 260, serving grades 3 through 9th. On Longview, 160, grades 3 through 9th, and on Palestine, 179, grades 3 through 9th, with a total of 599 confirmed enrollment. That does not address any students that we have pending. That does not address any students that we have currently on a waiting list. This is confirmed enrollment at this time, expected to show up the very first day of school. So a shout out to the team and to the directors for really following through with the parents. And we hope this only is going to continue to go up. You can see that we do have some spaces. You know, as you move across, you can see that the ones that are highlighted in yellow are actual full. There are spaces in several grades. We do currently have marketing taking place. We have radio ads going, as well as we have parents coming in. We've had several great articles that have gone out on each of our locations locally, and so I think that we're getting a good return on that publicity, that positive publicity that we're getting. So I see these numbers only increasing. Basically, we're increasing about 10 students a week across the district. And we've been monitoring this since early May.
I suspect when the scores are released, we're going to get more people showing.
Any questions about the district enrollment that I wanted to share? Moving right, go ahead.
One is that's a big jump from 8th grade to 9th grade. You know, that's a big decision point for people. What, at the different campuses, 39 in 9th grade, do we know, how did we do keeping our 8th graders, and how did we do keeping, you know, about, did we keep them, or did we, you know, what's our gut instinct on that?
Yeah, pretty.
Unless they were just dead set on football or something.
Right, that's what I'm trying
Yes.
to, you know, because high school, you know, that's a big cutoff. Not a cutoff, but decision point.
It'd be important to note that we did send out a survey to the kids asking them what kind of scores they would like to do in the 9th grade. And wasn't much.
Okay.
It wasn't surprising.
That's how we selected cross country and tennis,
Okay.
because there was, we could fill a team there, whereas that we had.
Continuing to accept new students.
Correct. Ongoing throughout the entire year, if we have availability.
If we have availability. Okay.
If we're actually full in that grade level, a student would go on a waiting list. If a student shows up 5 weeks into school, 5 months into school, if we have availability, we would accept them if they meet our requirements. So currently at 599.
So looking at your chart on the 7th grade for Tyler, the 45 number at the top, that's the per grade class size, the 38. How many we have now?
That's a mistake.
So I'm trying to figure out why that's.
Okay. Oh, it sure is, because it's yellow.
Same thing with the 8th grade
Right.
Tyler. But the number on top, Mr. Humphrey for 7th grade should actually be 42 instead of 45, but
Okay.
it still would not make it close.
Okay. So we're still accepting up to the 42. So we're almost full.
Yeah, I do see that too. And I didn't complete this chart, and I should have checked it. Make those.
They're now the largest university charter system in the state.
Any questions? Okay, speaking about STAR data, we actually, Mr. Weaver just printed our STAR data. It's here. And so I'm going to pass that around for everyone to look at. These actually has, go ahead and pass. Once everybody gets the reports, then we will run through those. Brian, do you want to go over these, or would you like for me? So basically, the first report is the district summary. As you can see, that we just learned that the district did meet standard. Based on this report, we met standard in all four indexes. The district was not eligible for distinctions, and the district met 100% of safeguards, performance safeguards, and participation safeguards. So district completely met all standards. Okay.
That's great.
Congratulations. All right, based on the second sheet, this is now moving to Longview's rating. Congratulations to Longview, met standard. Longview did receive distinctions. Distinctions are based on comparison groups. The state looks at the campus and they create a list of around 25 campuses, I think, if I'm correct, that fall in a comparison group. And if you are in the top 25% of that comparison group, meaning if you score within the top 25% of that comparison group, that is how you actually earn a distinction.
It's actually 40 schools. It is
40, excuse me. So 40 schools that fall within our comparison group, and if you're in the top 25% of those. So looking at this, I'm excited to announce that Longview earned a distinction in reading and language arts. They did not earn a distinction in science. In math, they did earn a distinction in science. They were not eligible for a distinction in social studies. They earned a distinction for the top 25% of student progress. They also earned a distinction for the top 25% of closing the performance gap. So congratulations. Based on this, Longview earned 1, 2, 3, 4 distinctions. Congratulations. That's outstanding. Safeguards. Looks like Longview met 12 out of 13, 92% of safeguards. Looks like they missed one performance safeguard, and Brian probably knows what that is now.
Oh, yeah, but I'm going to deal with it because I hate to say something like this, at the state level, send out data, but it is an obvious error. They're saying they had 179 students taking a math test. They only had 4. They don't even have 179 students on their entire campus.
So that's beautiful.
And so they will have met standard on that.
Okay, great.
100%.
Yeah, and it also may affect their distinction in math if something's wrong there with the numbers. So that's outstanding. So congratulations to Longview. Moving on to Palestine. Looks like Palestine as well. Congratulations, met standard. Palestine earned 2 distinctions, a distinction in math and a distinction in science. That is improvement from last year. Palestine was the only campus that earned a distinction last year, and they earned it only in math. So as you can see going through these reports, these campuses that are earning distinctions, they're earning distinctions for the very first time in the history of our school. Also, you can see here that Palestine met 100% of safeguards, 14 out of 14. So congratulations to Palestine as well for meeting standard and earning 2 distinctions. The last is Tyler. Tyler campus met standard as well. At this time, I do not see that Tyler earned any distinctions, and they did meet 100% of state system safeguards. So congratulations to Tyler as well. Met all 4 indexes as well.
Hey, Brian, why would we not be eligible for math? Only at this school.
Where did you see that?
It says not eligible for math.
There were only 11 students.
Oh, I see.
So based on a summary, all 4 campuses, including the district, met all 4 indexes. All 4 campuses in the district met standard, as well as it looks like overall we earned 6 distinctions in the district. So congratulations, and basically looks like we're going to meet all safeguards. So a shout out to the directors and to the teachers, the curriculum team, the administration for all their hard work. It's really exciting to see where we have come from, knowing the conversation we were having last year at this time to where we're at now. So congratulations.
Tyler, they're in a different comparison.
Correct.
So keep that in mind. We talked about that comparison group in the past. the scores are actually higher in some areas, and people don't understand that. And so,
Correct.
I think it's not here. Are you going to mention that we got some other distinctions?
Also, one thing I want to note is that, Tyler may not have gotten a distinction, but if you see that Tyler got the highest post-secondary readiness index rating for the district. So you're right. I'm glad you made that point, because in the comparison groups are available to print, and you will see there is a difference between the comparison group that Tyler's in and the other campuses. So that's what's tricky about when you look at a campus that got a distinction. There are campuses in our state that actually do not meet, that perform very low, that barely met standard, can actually get distinctions because their comparison group overall is very low. So we could actually have higher scores than a campus down the street that actually got a distinction, whereas we didn't get a distinction because they're in a different comparison group. So you will see that campuses try to sell themselves based on distinctions to cover up that they may have got lower scores in certain indexes.
Well, Palestine and Longview are the same, because the predominant factor for determining your comparison group, the 40 schools that you're compared to, is your number of economically disadvantaged, or percentage of economically disadvantaged students, because they know that's the #1 factor in performance. So both Longview and Palestine were like a 22 and 23% economically disadvantaged. So they were compared to other schools that also had that factor, whereas Tyler had a significantly less number of economically disadvantaged kids. So they have, in a sense, a harder group to compare to.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I just can't continue to say how proud I am of everybody's hard work. And we know where we were at last year when we were all charged at this table to improve academically as well as financially. And it sounds like that all the hard work and effort has paid off. And so it's going to be nice moving forward as we share these results with parents, and we continue to be committed to our model as well.
We were also TEA designated as.
Yes, correct.
We were one of 19 schools. We were 3 of 19 schools get Texas 10 designation.
The only schools in East Texas. Correct.
I think it's on the website.
Yeah.
But you missed it.
So
these scores will actually be released to the public tomorrow. They're released to school districts today, and they go up to the public tomorrow. So you can actually go to TEA and run a report tomorrow to see if any of the schools in the local area did not meet standard. Any of your schools.
3 of 19 new ones?
New ones, yeah. We're one of 100 or something. We have 3 of the 100.
109 total. I'm sorry, I just want to get that down.
And there were some schools that were actually taken away from us. So they lost the points. You mentioned that the state scores. Okay, forgive my ignorance here. We have the target score of 60. What was the state average, or is there such a thing? That's a passing rate.
Right. So what was?
It's problematic that the state scores actually have not been published. So they may come out tomorrow. I don't know. But last year's scores, I can tell you those. We won't run down the reference. And they basically, the commissioners already said the state stayed flat this year. So whatever they had last year is probably a good predictor of what they made this year. But if you want those reference numbers,
sure.
I have them for you.
So index 1.
Index 1 was 77.
Okay.
Is what the state scored as a
okay.
demographic. Index 2 was 40.
40. Okay.
Index 3 was 38.
Okay.
And index 4 was 41.
But that's not.
No, index, I already broke that down for you. In case there's confusion on that, you see it somewhere else. They actually got 66 on index 4, but that's because they have all the post-secondary measures in there. If you only look at the one we measure, which is scoring star scores, they made a 41 to contribute to their total of 66. We don't have the rest of that. To compare apples to apples, our district had 38, they have 41.
Next year, this year, this cutoff score is 13 for schools that don't have all that extra stuff. Next year, we will be held to that we'll be on a different scale next year. And what would we have scored if we were on that scale?
Well, I don't have that data.
Yeah, okay.
We can't have that data.
Because we didn't have high school last year, they had additional requirements.
And there is also a page in the board documents that, 'cause we were unsure if we were actually going to get this before the end of our meeting, that actually shows you where we scored last year. So if you're interested to see as a district, just for example, in index 1, we were at 65, we jumped to an 85. In index 2 as a district, we were 36, we jumped to a 42. Index 3, we were 32, we jumped to a 43. And in index 4, post-secondary college readiness, we were 17, we jumped to 38 post-college.
I always like to add there, we did that going to school half a day.
Yeah.
You know, while the other schools are going
So
7
we have lots
hours.
of tutorials after school.
Tutorials for about a third of the population that we'd stay at and do tutorials. But I'm just saying, in terms of efficiency and effectiveness, that was going to school from 8 to 7:55 to 12:15.
Yeah.
And now we're extending the school day by 2 hours, 30 minutes for lunch, another hour and a half. Time on task should be incredible.
We should be able to do.
That was very impressive. Thank you to all of you who worked very hard on that from the top
Yes.
down. Everybody, teachers, people, everybody, thank you. That's really very impressive.
And I want to just add that,
Sorry. Off of what Brian said too, we did all that in my opinion as well as staying true to our mom. We still did email, we didn't do test prep. We still did good inquiry teaching, and this is where we're at. So we stay true to who we are.
And I just want to applaud Jacqueline and her team and the directors for that awesome job of having true educational environment in the midst of test prep.
Shakedown.
Y'all did a beautiful job.
Hopefully this year, you're crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, absolutely. Well, congratulations again. It's exciting, and it's a fun time in our actual organization to move forward. We're in a lot better position we were last year, that's for sure. So the next item on the agenda is budget updates as of May 31st. Anything that you need to discuss on that, or have we already discussed it?
I just wanted to point out on this chart here that the amendments that we used earlier in our section here, so you can see some negative terms on the functions, but they'll be changed for the future.
The next item is school board members' term. Based on what we've reviewed, we talked about this, Dr. Odell, that it looks like it's a 2-year term, and it's my understanding that we have several parents that have been on the school board more than 2 years. And
It's okay. if you said direct.
yes, correct. Go ahead. You
Yeah,
reviewed
it
it.
looks like we went back and tried to stagger it so that we weren't doing all 3 schools at once. And I don't remember how we're going to do that, but at some point, somebody's got to run again. And then we're
Correct. We would love for the 2 of you to both run again so that we can continue your term, is what we need to probably look at a process for doing that. And we did the process in Longview last year. So your term, and you're going into really your first year term. And then my understanding, please correct me, Mr. Humphrey, how many years have you been on the board?
Since the beginning.
That's what I thought.
But what I resigned, and then I ran for reelection at the same time that Marty came in.
Okay, that helped. That's
Oh, yes, that's helpful to know. I did not. So what year did you come in?
The same year. I don't know when.
Because originally I was the only parent on the board.
Right.
We added 2 later.
When we decided to add parents from the other 2 campuses, I thought it would only be fair if
I think this is.
ran again.
We need to sit down and figure out the charter.
Yeah, well, I need, that's new information to me, so I didn't
We
know.
did the elections right after the past winter. That's when elections were. 'Cause I remember
So
we did the
January?
Election form.
So January the first
Do you
year.
have any of the paperwork?
So, well, we have the paperwork that we actually went through to bring Mr. Aldridge on. So we can go through that whole process again with parents. So my question is, do we want to basically run?
Sounds like it would be in January.
Yes, but I guess my question is, do we want to have 2 elections at the same time? Like to have election here in Tyler and in,
The idea was that, well, it's 2 years, so you're going to have a lot. Right?
yeah, they're both up for election based on what we're looking at, based on the time frame. So we could,
I mean, when we did Mr. Aldridge, It was because the other one had left.
Resigned.
It was kind of in the middle of,
It was
I think it was in the middle of the year or something, and so we basically just sent out a thing to all parents and initiated an election that way. Is that how you all did it the first year, or is it something more official?
I think we could do something very similar. We could basically send out and say that the place is up for, we could talk about it, but I think that we could send out something very similar to see if anybody's interested. Those that respond, then we can walk them through the process.
The other thing you might want to think about, we can't do today or anything, but for people at 3-year terms, that'd be easy, because this year, one school would be up, the next year another school would be up, and we could even do that in college.
We can talk about it, but those things that we said we needed to bring to the attention to begin the discussion as we were moving forward. We definitely
have a real process.
Yeah. The next item is curriculum updates. Jacqueline, do you have anything that you want to kind of just share with the board about where you're at currently? I know you and your team are working extremely hard. We will welcome all of our staff back tomorrow for a big general session and then kick off Monday with new teachers. But go ahead.
On Monday, Tuesday, next week, we bring new teachers, just trying to introduce them to our environment, what makes us different than a regular ISD. We take them through some training and inquiry and how to do that effectively, and then we bring all of our teachers back on Wednesday. We're going to do a PDL training with everybody, just so everybody's on the same page this year going into it, and then we're going to go to next week facilitating planning where myself and all of the content coaches will be there for 3 days full to help them plan out their first projects in the first 9 weeks. So we're just seriously planning all that. Other than that, we finally finished hiring last week. So that's good too.
So the first day, all of our staff comes back tomorrow, and then first day of school is the Monday the 24th. Well, that is the end of my presentation.
Well, let me say to all of you, to every employee in here, and to every employee that's of our academy that's not in here. We have a lot of good things happening right now, especially the STAR schools. And those are some wonderful, some outstanding schools. It didn't just happen. It took a lot of work on the part of a lot of employees in this district, and I sit across the table and I look at how the professionals we have in here who had the stick-to-itness, the hard work ethic to bring back up a sinking ship. That's what some thought. And you know, that's pretty much impossible to do. Once a ship starts going down, you can't get it back up. But you found a way to do that. And I say congratulations on behalf of the board. And I'm happy to be working with such a fantastic group of people who roll our sleeves up and go in and do a good job every day. And yeah, you did it in half a day. I thought about that too. But thank you. On behalf of the board. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had some fun times.
Well, we just are excited to, our goal next is to share this news with our parents, our community, newspaper, get it out there again, and to just really just talk about the great things that we're doing, because our name is out there. We're, more and more people are calling and asking and inquiring about what we're doing and how is it different than the school next door. So congratulations again.
Have anything from any other board member? No. The meeting is adjourned.
All right. Here's a list of comparison groups at the district if you'd like it. That's exciting. I was reading from that as oh yeah, that's what I was trying to say that in a way like, let's just go through the process here.